Marno, we already said. See, this goes to show you how well he knows us, because he figures we don't remember what we just said. Marno, we already said. She'ha'ed she'omar shomati shemes pleni. Right, that a witness who says that he heard. I love the specifics of the word. There's a witness. He says that he heard that Shemes Pliny, that Pliny died, John Doe died. Afilu shama me'isha, sheshama me'eved. Even he heard it from a woman who heard it from a slave. Harizeh kashel edus isha umesin al piv. This is good enough for the edus regarding these things with a woman, and she can get married based on this testimony. Haga, okay, fine. We did say that, but he actually does add an extra thing here, because in the last sif, he didn't clearly say that it could be more than one degree away. He said that an eight is, in other words, an eved is, and even one who heard from another. Here he's saying he heard from another of these who heard from another of these. But in either case, I guess that was implied in the last one. Haga, even if he doesn't say from who he heard it. Ella Omar Stam Sheshama. Just he says Stam. I heard from a lady. I was in the market, and what's it called? I was buying star fruits, place, whatever they would buy back then. And the lady, man, I heard of a lady who said that she saw that this guy. She says I was just in the market. I was just by the hospital, and this guy from your place, Yehupitzville, whatever, he died. Kosher. This is good. And we don't suspect that maybe the first one was puzzle, right? Meaning, like, if he's not if he's not telling us who said this, how do we know this person is not from the Psuli Deiraisa? How do we know he's not a Goslin? But we assume that this person is a kosher, is not from Psuli Deiraisa. Continues the Mechaber. Avol im Omar ha'ed, ei ha'isha, oi ha'eved. Right? If any of these people say, either this witness or the woman who the witness heard it from, or your isha, or right, sorry, the woman who he heard it from, or your eved, or the servant or the slave that the woman heard it from. Meis pleni ve'ani ro'isiv shemeis, and I saw him that he was dead. Well, I guess this is assuming they're in front of us right now. We ask this person, how did you see? And how did you, and with what did you know? And I'm sorry, and how did you know this? So you ask him, what is it, when, where, how, why, whatever place, you explain what exactly did you see? How did you what was the situation there? If he's witnessing in something when things that are clear, nemon, it's trusted. The imheid b'dvarim sheruban lemisa ein masin esishte. However, what if he saw something that mistame he died? I saw him. Was he dead? No, he wasn't dead, but he had an arrow in his chest.
Right.
As opposed to I saw him clearly dead with an arrow in his chest, and there was maggots coming out of his eyeballs already, so he was for sure dead. Right? That
reminds me of there's a clip somebody sent me. I don't remember if it was an ad for something or something, but there's this guy, you see this guy who kind of lives by himself, and every day he's training. He's just training for the zombie apocalypse when it comes. He's just sure it's gonna happen with his swords and his guns, and And one day he looks out the window and he sees a bunch of zombies walking on the street. He's like, my time has come. And he runs downstairs and he starts taking them out just left and right, mowing them down. And then he like finishes them all, takes a deep breath. And then he kind of turns and he sees the whole movie set, like the director, the makeup artist, everyone's kind of staring, shocked. Yeah, like you may have seen it, but what did you see? You don't know.
Right, what was it? Right. I was in Hollywood and I saw. Okay, never mind.
The guy was playing with guns. He was messing around.
Yeah. So to me, it reminds me of the Monty Python. Bring out your dead. I'm not dead yet. Yeah, he's dead. I'm dead already. Anyway, right. So if it's something that most probably would have ended up in death, this doesn't count. You have to mamish have seen him dead.
Confirmation.
Yeah, like that it's clear that this person knows what they're talking about. That the person who actually was most certainly dead.
Right. The guy fell off the cliff. It doesn't count. But what's the old? I think they call it comic book rules. If there's no body, the guy's probably alive. If the bad guy fell off the cliff, if there's no body, he's alive.
So
he's coming back in the sequel.
Right, exactly. So that's the same thing. Because, for example, let's say in a war. Oh, I saw him very wounded. Okay, it doesn't mean for sure he didn't. Okay, you saw his head lopped off. He's fine. We can go by that. You saw whatever place he had blood all over him or something. Okay, maybe it was somebody else's blood. Maybe it was whatever. Maybe he got better. I don't know.
But in the Holocaust, there's several stories of exactly that, where the Yidden B'dashka pretended to be dead so that they would survive. We have stuff, and we know, the whole beautiful story of how the Hollander brothers, how they reunited. His brother, it was seen, it was reported, his brother was hanged, and he hung by a tree for 3 days. Everyone knew he was dead. The guy, he didn't die from the initial hang. Neck, but no one else noticed, and he stayed like that for 3 days, until it was safe for him to reach up, take the noose off, and run to freedom. And it was a whole story where for years they thought the other brother was dead.
Public. It wasn't just one person. Everybody saw.
Everybody saw the Nazis, other Yidden who were marched up to the camps. They saw it, and he was there for 3 days.
Yeah,
but then. And it's a whole beautiful thing. There's some television show reunited them by surprise. It was a beautiful story.
Yeah.
They were able to connect because of a television show. It was a whole thing. I'll tell you later. But yeah.
Anyway, so but because you cannot testify about a person who died unless you saw him very certainly without any doubt dead. Hago. Shama Kil Mekaninis. He heard like a voice of rumors. Sheizkiruhu Bein Amesim. Or I don't know, it's something else. Mekaninis. What's Mekaninis?
Mentioned?
It sounds like it's almost obituaries or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
1 second. Let's wrong thing. My phone is better because it has a Lashon keyboard.
Mentioned amongst the dead, like the.
Yeah, I think it's like obituaries, something like this.
Makes sense.
Yeah, let's look it up. Means lamentations. Oh, like kinus.
Yeah, okay.
Like kinus Latishabov. So, in other words,
I was gonna say like eulogy.
Yeah.
Eulogy is like a lamentation. Like you talk about the dead, but like in a nice flower. This whole thing, the Bible does do the eulogies.
Right.
Get the guy in trouble with Ben Shemaila. Really, you were such a great guy.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, like.
So he heard it in the voice of lamentations in a speech of lamentations. that they mentioned him amongst the dead. The Safdu, I say, and they gave him a hesped, they gave him a
eulogy.
Yeah.
Hesped is eulogy.
Masi and Ishta, you can marry his wife. V'lachein yesh limches benoshim. And therefore you should hold back the ladies. Shelei lispeid adam alpi umdanus. Hamichichis. Again, shelei lispeid adam alpi umdanus. Hamichichis shemeis.
Sorry, I'm just picturing this guy going, "Stay back, ladies, one at a time, one at a time."
Right. So, well, I guess maybe because women are perhaps more emotional, and therefore they're more when they hear about somebody dying, they'll they might be want to lament and eulogize but basically it means like umdanus means like approximations, right? Meaning let's say that the doctors said he has 3 weeks to live, and that was 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. So mistame, he's dead, right? Something like this maybe. So they should not give a hesped on this. Why? Because if somebody hears this hesped, they can accept a testimony through this that the person actually passed away, and the wife will get married. Now you got a problem because maybe the estimation was wrong. And by the way, even if it's right, not right, but meaning fine, he passed away 2 months later. But in the meantime, his wife got married. It's a problem. She's still an ish as long as he's alive. And they should not give a eulogy to him until they know for sure that he's dead. And so too his wife is prohibited from eulogizing him, or to put on like the black clothes of a widow.
Right.
As long as there is not a proper edus, a proper testimony that he actually is allowed to marry her, meaning a proper testimony that he in fact died. And so too, no beis din should give a document of testimony to a woman of that which witnesses testified in front of them. Meaning, don't update her. Hey, we're giving you a document that witnesses came and said such and such. So mistame, but we're still not sure. No, don't give her any document or anything until it's
what? Again, it's gonna be like a nice thing. Don't give her false hope, until you know for sure.
It's worse than false hope. Even in this case, you're giving her a document based on this. They might accept or whatever, and she'll come to marry, and her husband's still alive.
You're gonna it's only gonna cause problems, and she might.
Oh, that's for sure. Also, but mitzad this they're talking about because it might mislead her to
They'll get remarried.
Yeah,
when it's not confirmed.
But it says here, im loik shekasvu befeiru shatam shlo yatiru isa al eduzu. Unless they write very specifically,
explicitly,
that it's not a good edus, and this is why, whatever. And that's in that self-same document, right? The chayshina de kalkulmi based in shein mumchim that we worry about going bad because of a beis din that's not properly that aren't experts in this area. Okay, chelkas mechikik. Kvar amarnu shahed omar shamati etc. I'm bekuntis agunis and tamtes kumachas. Fine, that's it. Leichai Shinon says Veishmuel. We don't worry about that. Maybe the original person was apostle, since we don't know who it is. Kain calls with Arkimesha b'shem Tshuvas Binyamin Zev. B'shilti kibedim sefivamis pasak the shailin eitzei shema shama mimida inir lohid. that he says that even so we do ask him. Meaning it's not we don't ask him at all. It's if he doesn't know who the guy was, it's still kosher. But we do ask him and try to determine who the person was in case the person wasn't. Now, if we cannot determine it, that's different. Then we go with the assumption he was kosher. But we do try to clarify that. No, let's go first of all. Yud Zayin the Beishmul. So we ask him, how did you see it, and what was the situation, right? Af al gav, even though im amarish the shama me acher in anu yedem mimi shamarishin, right? Even though if he heard from somebody else, and we don't know who the other person, who the first person was, ein don in efshar mishi efshar. You don't. The halacha is not the same when it's possible as when it's not possible. Meaning, in the case that you can't clarify it, it's kosher. But in the case that you can clarify it, you have to clarify it. Right? It's not, wait a second. If he heard from a second person and he doesn't know who it is, it's kosher. So he himself, what do we need to ask him questions from? He said he saw him dead, finished. Nope. In the case that you can clarify, you do clarify. In the other case, we accepted it without clarification. That's only because it wasn't possible. They say that whenever it's possible to ask him, we ask. Even though you don't need, there's like Linden Hilchos Eidus, there's a specific way that generally witnesses have to be cross-examined and ask questions. Right, the drisha is like the regular. You ask them the questions about the basic questions about the situation. What day was it? Where was the place, etc. These kind of things, right? And if obviously if him or whether he doesn't know, or whether he says one thing and the other witness says something else, then it's a problem. Then it's lakira, which is the what do you call it, the cross-examination type of thing. And even though by this edus that's not required. Like, for example, if he says I was I don't know, it was like about 2 months ago. I don't remember. I just don't remember what day it was. It's fine by this sort of edus. Mikol makim tzrichim lishol eich yodah. We still have to ask him to at least whatever he does remember to clarify. There shouldn't be something off over there. Ken kosva magid. And so it would seem that if he heard from somebody else, we don't just say, okay. Now, if he doesn't know, right, before it said, right, even though he doesn't say, right, fine, but maybe over there he doesn't say because he doesn't know. He was, I don't know, I was in the shul in this place, and he said this guy from Pittsburgh named such and such came, and he was here, and all of a sudden in the middle of shul he got sick, and the next thing you know he was dead, right? I'll ask him who to. Now I happened on my travels to be in Pittsburgh where the guy's from, and I hear that they don't know what happened to this guy. Well, I happen to know. I overheard I was in the shul, and the guy said, "Who was the guy?" I don't know. It was one of the guys who was who came to the shul. I don't know what his name is. So fine. However, if he does know, we still ask him. It's not, I heard from somebody. Okay, great. No, wait, who did you hear from? It was just a guy in the shul. You don't know who he is. Fine. But we still ask him. We're still trying to be mavar whatever we can. What was that? The shag. Like the Shir Gimel says. Maybe Shaigoin? I don't know. It could be Shaigoin. He's one of the Gainim. Anyway. The ha Hershel because you're able to clarify, so you have to, right? So that the Haggah says that if he says stam a person, he doesn't say who. It doesn't mean because he's unwilling to say who. It's because he's unable to say who. He has no idea who the guy was. It was some guy in the shul there. So there, he can't clarify for you anymore. So he says, but if he can clarify, you do clarify. Even though at first glance, when you look at his lashon, it almost sounds like what he's saying isn't like he doesn't want to say. I just heard from somebody. I don't want to say. But he says, that's what it sounds like. But it's we should be stringent in this. That we should clarify because bataz v'ayin be summer simple lamates. I'm giving some other places on the same lines. Sheyodim. Next thing. Sheshama the Chelkas Mechekik. Sheshama Kollel Mekainunis. Mekainunis got a scene of delivery. Magid Mishnah. Bezel Sheni Besefil Husgerishin din test with the Sefta Afilu Shama Kollel Mekainunis. Shemazkir Bein Hamesim Ein Eidos Gedoyle Mizu Ad Kan Sheni. So that if he hears a being publicly announced or whatever between the dead, so there's no bigger testimony than this. I'm not sure why it doesn't say. Fine, that is hey, vav. Bishas hagzeira. Matirim noshim al pi balichula. During a time of a, how do you say, gzeda, of like what's the good word for gzeda? Like a bad something from the like
decree, but
yeah, but it means not just right. It means which they're talking about like a government decree against the Jews. But it means I guess the same. Like in other words, it would also like during like the times of the Cossacks and things like this, and meaning during times of danger. I think a better way is during times of like dangerous times for the Jewish people. Harry. So we allow we are matir noshim. We allow noshim through the word of Bali Tshuva. Now, just to be clear here, he's not talking about that about Tshuva can't give testimony. And in fact, we know even a person who was originally kept everything and then went off the way and became an evil person and came back, he can actually do, and even mamish testimony in a basement is no problem. What he's talking about, Mistami, here is he's talking about people who were like who converted to Christianity and this kind of thing, and then they came back to Judaism or something of that nature, right? Because that's a usual thing during the times of Exeda, is back then, where it wasn't just they were trying to kill them, they were trying to like convert them, and like the Inquisition, things like this. Oh yeah, he says it clearly. The Haggah explains it. Shema idim mashera ubish. So here's what it is. This problem with Eidos is, right, there's a thing that when did the thing begin and when is he testifying? Let's say somebody who was a Goslin, right? And he did tshuva. He saw something from before he was a Goslin. It's okay. Being that he started out not puzzle and now he's testifying not puzzle, it's okay. But what if the thing he witnessed was during when he was a Goslin? His testimony is no good. Why? Because at the time he witnessed it, even though at the time he's giving the testimony, he's a kosher, but at the time he witnessed it, he wasn't. And he has to have both witnessed it and give over the testimony. I think it's like something like matchilin v'geivin b'kashus, something like that you begin and end in kashus. However, so basically what he's doing here is he's giving a special license, so to speak, a special exclusion. Because usually a shemad who's about tshuva, he can look. See, I said about tshuva and a bunch of balloons popped up. Usually a shemad who's about tshuva. If what he saw during when he was a shemad is no good, he can't give testimony on. Because during that time he was puzzled, the time he witnessed it. So, however, during the times of Exeda, I guess we say that it's not really from his own, even though he wasn't supposed to, he should have given his life rather than Shemad. But at the end of the day, like, you understand. It wasn't, it wasn't by his own choice or whatever. Anyway, so mamidim masherau b'shas hashmad, that we uphold what he saw during the time he was converted. Afal pishe miru daiton, even though they were heretics against their faith. Mikeach einis, from being forced. Reikim hamumrim. Maybe he'll explain. I don't know what he means by empty ones that are heretics. I think here he's talking about perhaps people that weren't forced. See what he says here. Oh, there's an easier way to do this. Okay, 76. Let's see what he's talking about here. 3. This I think the English is even worse than I think I understand more from the Lashon HaKodesh than from the English. It says vacuous and dissolute apostates. What's vacuous? What's dissolute?
Too fancy.
Let's see what now I have to look at what vacuous means. Mindless, stupid, showing a lack of intelligence.
So empty-headed. Like,
yeah.
So that would mean you could translate that to.
What's dissolute? Lacks in morals, licentious. So a loose person. Shechazer b'tshuva, they returned in tshuva. Chaloi b'tshuva gemura, but not in a complete tshuva. I guess the reason we're saying they didn't come the fact that they are reikim amumim upeichas, and the fact that they are rashish and dissolute people itself shows us that they were not that their tshuva is not a full tshuva. We can aimless mechali duson. You cannot rely on their testimony unless they gave it over. Not what's it called? How do we translate that? Like they gave it over unintentionally, not intending to bear witness, right? Which is just like we said that we could do by a guy also in this case. Be a dua, or alternatively that we know shehidu b'leida mi of equal.
428.
Unless we know for a fact that he testified without cheating and misleading. And this is it varies from person to person. That's a call exactly what if the guy can be trusted or not. That's something that the dayan's going to have to dayan has to decide based on the specific thing. Mashiro be'es tzara. Interesting because that's not even the lashon of the mechaber. The mechaber says mash of the Ramah. The Ramah says mashiro be'es hashmad. Ayin b'tshuvas harosh klal nundalid siman aleph shemechalik bin mashiro b'shas ha'enis lemashiro achar kach b'shasha yichel limot al nafshan be'ochan avelis l'tiyavin shebe'es hashah yipsulim. See, in the Rosh, he differentiates between somebody who agrees and says, "Yeah, I'm shmading because they're forced, right? They're forcing me, right?" Or, but how about later that same guy is eating Haezer and why? Because he's shmad already, right? And now,
Right.
just because originally you were shmad because of you were forced, but now
But
you're
now
sitting there
choosing.
enjoying being a guy and enjoying the
Right.
your new
Right.
position in society.
I was wondering about the difference between the lashon of shmad versus the lashon of beis tzara. The difference between, okay, maybe be'es hashmad could include when it's popular, not necessarily
So
when it's
tzara means
dangerous.
while you're being only dafka because you're still being forced. Very good.
Yeah, meaning people's lives are at risk. Like the difference between the Inquisition and what was it by its Christian,
Right.
Who
sadly inspired Yidden to go serve Avodah Zarah.
Right.
Right? He was punished because he was the one who led the way. He lifted his what's it called? Lifted his skirts or his robes to run to the Avodah Zarah. It was very difficult by him. And the whole Gemara about it. So he comes to say, "Hey, why you bad mouthing me? If you would have I would have." It says that he inspired Yidden and he led the Yidden serving Avodah Zarah. And there's a certain Tana who was speaking very critical, and whatever. And he came to him in a dream and said, "If you would have been alive in my time, you would have lifted your robe to run to it." Meaning it was a strong Yitzhahara. But it wasn't a time of Tzara. No one was threatening their lives.
Right.
It was a major, but everyone was doing it. It was. So it made. So I'm saying, I wonder if there's enough community there. We're saying, yeah, it was by choice. The Eid Hashmad could include maybe. It wasn't necessarily a risk of death, but everyone was doing it. It was a major pressure, and maybe people who didn't know any better went along with it, etc. Like whatever. There's a whole thing with regards to when Christianity was just coming up. I remember hearing once that because at the beginning it was like all J for J, it was like it looked like Yiddishkeit.
Right.
And so then it would, until it changed and people were able to, even the most simple person would be like, "What? Shabbos on Sunday? Get out of here with that garbage."
Right.
People got confused. Yeah. So that could be still always a shmad. But when you're seeing someone is like you're saying, like now he's commenting saying, okay, well, but if you see the guy is pretending to not be in other areas that are clear, he's eating straight.
Right. Now you see he's enjoying himself. Pashut. He's it's like it's not fine. He has to act because otherwise they'll kill him. So okay, I'm gonna and whatever I have to do to make the story pass, fine. But no, he's like, hey, listen, if I'm already, what's it called? So let me, It also, we need to check where they're good people during the time of the Gzeira. Maybe that the fact that they didn't stand in this test, maybe they were in the beginning, they were already Bali Aver and couldn't and were unfitting to testify. Because here we see there were other people who didn't go who withstood the threat, and they didn't go with it.
Right.
Says the Beis Shmuel Shmid Mashro b'Shatz Hashmad Hainu Beis Shiro Hayu Mumrim Al Pi Einis Ve'achar Kach Hayu Yichel Limal V'Nisharu Sham Ve'az Hayu Psulim Lahaid Kivon D'Nisharu Sham Beratzin Ve'achar Kach also Tshuva Ve'ahavi Techila V'Seif B'Kashes Afal Gav Hayu Psulim Beini Leveini. So basically he's saying this is meaning that when we see when is it b'shas hashmad that when he witnessed it, then that's only when it was by force. But if like he could have then come back and he stayed there, then he can't then during that, now if he did tshuva, right, shlema, then fine.
Right.
Then again, what he saw before you can accept again, but what he saw b'shas ma'isa during that time you can't accept. However, the Taz is
like
says the Taz is makeup and this, and he says only a guy who's mamish Rasha Gomer, who's a complete Rasha. Do you require that the beginning and end wasn't kashrus? Rather, if as long as he wasn't a Rasha Gomer, even maybe he should have come back already, but maybe whatever, he was just nervous or whatever, even just to say he was enjoying himself, whatever it was, but he's not a Rasha Gomer, we can still be makil and accept the testimony he saw during that time. Aval mumar ba'ainis afilu achal nevelis lati oven b'shah shera'a v'asa tshuva umeid kachel lahayd umebi rayim mechisvia ari simin rishchol aleph which was ben sasin simin tzadik, and that is love. I would go ahead and do fine because it's short, but there's another halacha from the Rambam. He says that when if you have to go to the bathroom, you shouldn't even wait a minute. The dilam even.
Good.
I could be available a little bit later.
Picking up my brother-in-law. Well, a little later. Okay.
Anyway, I'll be in touch shortly. As soon as I take care of these halachas that have to be taken care of, and then we'll figure.